No, I'm blocked from them. The
No,
ones
she's
that video it.
You're on that.
They're leaving
Not
Wednesday
this.
morning. We're getting
This
rid
is
of
not live. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Well,
Technically.
if it becomes disruptive, it'll be
sorta.
a problem, or if it becomes
I was supposed to
harassment
get my
or
hair
something.
Well, it
tomorrow,
can't
but
be
Lindsay-
because legally it's, okay. We've been down this road.
Okay,
Linda,
we'll talk about
you
it.
know Chris Gomez?
I met him last.
Oh, okay.
At the last. How are you? I was sitting right beside you.
Yep.
I'll get you, and there's, you know.
Okay, it's 6:30. This is a special meeting of the McCracken City Commission, January 29th, 2024. So I'm going to call the meeting to order at this time. First, we're going to go through this agenda and cover the items on the agenda, and then we'll adjourn, so. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Norma McNair, Commissioner.
Brian Walker, Commissioner.
Joe Tipman, Mayor.
Nicole Fairwell, City Clerk.
And Chris,
No.
go ahead and pipe up there.
Chris Gomez, City Code Enforcer.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. First on the list is Arlene Gilbert.
Good evening, and mine isn't necessarily a comment. I have a question. What's the protocol for calling a special meeting?
The protocol is that two commissioners can call a special meeting anytime, and that only certain items, the items that are on the agenda, can be discussed at a special meeting. It does allow for public comment. And then what are it has to be
I just have to let
posted within
the
a couple hours of the
commissioners
meeting.
know within 2 hours of the meeting, but then I have to let the general public know within a reasonable amount of time before the meeting.
Okay, well, I tried to call a couple of school board members, and I talked to John, and of course, things change through the years, but he said all they have to do to call a special meeting, that all the school board members have to sign a paper
Mhm.
that they were notified about the meeting. But I do know that sometime, and John and I talked about this, when Lorraine was on school board, she told me they had to publicly, put it in the paper 10 days to 7 days ahead of the special meeting. And then I also read, and Anita read the same thing, about one city commissioners have their special meeting every regular meeting if they need one before. But then I thought that doesn't make sense, because if somebody wanted to go to it, they'd go when the regular meeting was and wouldn't necessarily go the hour before the meeting.
Yeah, a special meeting could be called for any reason at any time, really.
Well, I would understand that, but I didn't know if there was a leeway the time before the meeting, if that had to be published.
It's, like Nicole said, it's a reasonable amount of time is how it's stated.
Oh,
And then
okay,
for
that's what I just
commissioners,
wanted
it's,
to know, Joe.
for commissioners, it's a minimum of 2 hours
Oh, wow.
ahead of time. So
Okay.
commissioners can get pretty short notice for a
Yeah.
special meeting.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was my question, because I learned about it, Kathy called me about 3:30,
Uh-huh.
and
And we'll try to
I
get.
might have had a hot day tonight and have to cancel.
Yeah.
But, no,
Well, it will depend on the circumstances of the meeting every time. You might get more notice next time, you might not.
Okay. Well, Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks
Brian.
for your
Thank you,
comment
Brian.
and your question.
Oh, yeah, and I'd have been here the last time for your swearing in, but I was coming the next night. I didn't get that message that it had been changed.
Oh,
So, but that's all
Okay.
right. They still inducted him, didn't they?
yes, ma'am,
Without-
they did. We drafted him.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Next on public comment is Anita.
I need to go there?
You don't have to.
Okay, good.
So,
Congratulations, very excited. Very excited for the code enforcer. I just hope the community is aware that it's not gonna happen overnight.
Amen.
That it's a process, you know, notices and laws, and it's just not gonna happen overnight. But we're moving forward, I'm so excited. And I am curious about the offices that you're talking about remodeling, because I know some events, this place is packed with eating going on. So I'm hoping the office space doesn't take away from eating area. Does that make sense?
Okay. It's towards the bottom of the agenda, but we're certainly going to get to it and explain it fully, so
Great.
thank you.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Chris Petz.
I don't know how good this is gonna go. Over the weekend, my friend Richard Showalter, and his nickname is Froggy, brought it to my attention that my wife was on the council and was the mayor and won her election fair and true. Froggy brought it to my attention that somebody named Clem Carlene put up $10,000 to get my wife off of the council, the city council. There was more or less a petition going around from Norma and Christina Brooke that they were going to oust her off of the commission. And they went through with that process and my wife resigned. But there's a $10,000 something or another out there. I don't know whether it was a gift to the city, it was a gift to personal gift, but I found out this through the grapevine, and she's been off of it almost 2 years now. So I think this is baloney. I want an explanation of why this has got to go on. How stupid are people to come up with this? I don't know if I'll get an explanation, but it surely pissed me off. I've done a lot around here, and I'm just not gonna lay down and take it. I think it's ignorant, it's asinine, and why somebody would pay $10,000 to get my wife off the city council.
Who got paid?
I don't know who got paid. That's what I want to know. Who got paid? Norma, you know all about it.
All I know is he put up $5,000 and it was paid to the attorney that took care of it, and it was all done on a legal aspect. That's all I know.
But she beat you fair and square by 10 points, and you guys tried to oust her off. I don't get it. It's all smoke and mirrors. And you know exactly what happened.
And that's what I know, is exactly what I just.
5,000?
Yes.
Why'd Froggy say 10,000?
I have no idea.
Did somebody get an extra $5,000 bonus?
I have
hold
no
on.
idea.
I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna demand an explanation. Where it comes from, I'm not badgering you, Brian, but I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed.
No language like that. Don't.
Something's gonna happen.
You don't have to leave.
No, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna put up with no more smoke and mirrors. This is
Okay.
bullshit. It's black and white.
Okay.
I called Froggy and give him a piece of my mind too, so they all know about it.
Okay, Chris, we'll get back with you. I promise. All right, Diane Seiler, you're next.
On a lighter note, sorry about all whatever's going on. It just never seems to amaze me that there's always some kind of But, I would just like to see when you guys are doing your meeting and whatever, and we had talked about it, just to make sure we maybe get a calendar of events going, so people are aware of what we're gonna try to do going forward,
Yeah.
just that.
We're working on updating and
Okay.
simplifying the website, so it'll appear there, and then, we'll put out a call to people to
See what they wanna do and
put
get everybody
something on
together.
that, if they want
Like-
to.
So at least
But-
like, the American Legion has whatever they're going on the calendar, the golf cart parades, you know,
Yeah,
Wreaths Across America.
yeah, and that might take, we're not gonna drag our feet, but that might take a while. We have a busy couple of months here at the beginning of the year, but, that's
Things
definitely
really don't
something
start
we wanna
rolling
do.
till in the spring, but I'm just wanted to bring that to
And
you.
a couple years ago, the library put together a community calendar, and the city was gracious to include it in the billing.
The water bill.
The water, yeah, the water
Yeah.
billing.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring that up in,
I just wanted to put it
meetings
out there.
down the
No
road.
biggie. Not a
Yeah.
crisis.
No, we're completely aware of that, and we think it'd be a good tool for everyone to be able to utilize, so. All right, that was all the public comment. So, next item on the agenda is the city treasurer.
I have a comment I do want to make on what we've got here written. I kind of owned 3 businesses, and I've never lowered anybody's salary. I've kept it the same, or I've always increased it. And I really just kind of think we ought to leave it the same as it was.
It was 250, right?
Yes.
I think that's a little much for what a treasurer does here, which is basically go over the bank statements and sign off on those statements that have already been reconciled by the city clerk, and then deliver the deposits to the bank and return with the deposit receipts. And that's basically all the treasurer has been doing. There may be some other duties from time to time directed by the city clerk. And actually, I think that the treasurer should follow up on some of these other duties. If they are not, if there's nothing for him to do, then, and there hasn't been, basically, they sign off on the bank statements and make the deposits. Is that about what you saw them doing before? What else did they do?
Well, years ago, they did it quite differently, but that was when we had hard books and whatnot. This has been a change since we've done the software differently, but basically, I just think it's something
Something else too is we're going to draft a set of what's the word?
Policies?
For job description?
Policies, employee policies.
Maybe their job description?
It'll include job descriptions and expectations and so forth and so on. And in those policies, there will be at least an annual, but probably a semi-annual review of every employee. So we have that opportunity to review performance and wages at that time. And I don't know, Norm, I think it's for what our treasurer does at the moment. I think $150 a month is adequate, probably. That's my opinion. Right here it says, city treasurer shall be responsible to keep a full and accurate record of all monies received and paid out in a ledger book provided by the governing body, deposit all public monies and sign all checks of the city, oversee all bank reconciliation performed by the city clerk, assist the city clerk in preparing an annual financial statement, assist the city clerk in preparing a yearly budget, any and all duties assigned by the mayor or board of commissioners. And I don't think our treasurer is gonna do all that, are they?
Well, I'd like them to.
Then we should talk about maybe a little bit more money, but let's start at 150. We can always change this, right?
Every year you can.
So, I'd like to take some things off your plate and shift it over to a treasurer, but we need to find a treasurer. So, we can always make these adjustments. But if we just need somebody to run money to the bank and reconcile those statements, or they're already reconciled, we just need them to sign off on them.
I just need her to go over them.
And this is a job that could be done by almost anybody, and they could be trained into these other items as time goes by. So I think $150 a month, I think myself, is a decent place to start, so. But that's what we're here for, Norma. We're here to kick it around and talk about it. What do you
That was
think,
all I
Brian?
just felt.
So how many times does the treasurer have to make deposits in a month?
Once a week.
Once a week? Okay.
Well, that's how often she does. She just comes on Fridays and gets the deposits and takes them.
But that's pretty much all she's been doing, right?
So she just runs deposits to the bank in La Crosse?
Do we have a treasurer?
Hold up, Ron. Nicole would like her to reconcile or
I
sign
just
off
want
on
her to
those
sign
bank
off on the bank
statements.
statements.
And leaves them there for her to do that, but she's neglected to do it, and so we want to hire a new.
So that's like, I mean, I'm just breaking this down to simple math. If she goes once a week to La Crosse, it's like $37 and change to.
Well, she goes
to make
there
a
because
trip.
she works there already.
But if she
whoever
didn't-
whoever that
Oh, but
person
whoever
might be
that- oh, yes.
is gonna go to La Crosse
Yeah.
four times a month.
Yes.
Are we paying any mileage or?
We haven't been, no.
Well, we certainly can if somebody's not already going there.
Yeah.
And how long would it take to reconcile our bank statements?
Well, I mean, it takes me literally 10 minutes tops to do it because it's really easy now. But just to go through them and just to make sure that I'm not stealing anything or that I'm not buying groceries for my house or something, stuff like that. Just to check off and just have
So it's
another
a-
extra set of
it's a
eyes. just to-
second set of eyes on
Right.
that. So that would take, what, 10, 15 minutes
Yeah,
at a time?
tops,
Once a
yeah.
week?
Once a month.
Once a month?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, we only give those statements once a month. Okay,
Even
so,
with the software, you going through and checking out all the checks that's came through and.
Well, like it's mostly the electronic things that go through that aren't signed by anybody necessarily, so.
But you still check off the ones that are paper checks.
Oh, yeah, I do it just like I would if I, just like you do your own.
Right,
you
that's
know.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it would take a little longer than.
I mean, we really don't have, it really
But we
takes
don't
me
have a
10
ton of
minutes.
checks. I know
Yeah.
we don't.
It doesn't take me very long at all to do it.
Okay.
so we're still only up to about, what? You said it was 33 something dollars a month, or, yeah, to drive to the bank.
Yeah, so,
Then we've got
from a
another half hour.
And the thing, like, the first thing with the expenses, all they are supposed to do is take that ledger book that the governing body provides. They just have to write what goes in and what goes out on paper. They don't have to figure out any of the fund balances or anything like that. It's just a record of the expenditures
record of
and
it.
revenue, yeah. That's the only other thing but I got that off of the leagues,
No.
and the statutes.
What else of these items would you have them do? If you could, all these?
All those, yeah.
So, here's an annual thing.
Like, the annual thing is just like when I make the budget, or when I have to do the budget, it's just, would be nice to have her like input in extra
So there's
set of
two,
eyes.
yeah, there's
If I
two-
miss something, or,
there's two annual tasks here, financial statement and a yearly budget,
and the financial statement, the software pretty much does that for me,
right?
but
But on the budget, annual budget that is done yearly, you should,
That's
like,
more
get
than
that
one time.
together. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
more than one time, and then that should be brought, and we should overlook it
Oh.
before. I mean, we need to be doing that correctly, and look through and gone through, and then if there's any changes, that's the time to change them, before we go.
Right.
With,
Okay, well, after this discussion, I'm still thinking $150 is a good place to start. I love giving people raises if they deserve it, and they're taking on more responsibility, and everybody feels it's a good idea. I myself still think this is a good place to start, though. Anybody else think different?
Well, I was making that point too. We haven't figured out, the time this is all gonna take, but it's gonna be less than 2 hours a month. I mean, add it all together that I can see. So if you just break it down to an hourly wage, that's $75 an hour.
Sign me up.
That's pretty good wage. I know 150 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when you break it down into
Right.
what we're actually asking this person to do. Now, if it was if this was a whole bunch of hours, it'd be a different scenario, but I agree with you, Joe, at $75 an hour.
I'd do a lot of things for 75 bucks.
So would I.
So, okay, let's continue on then. So, what have we got here?
oh, there's the ordinances first, like you just make a motion to accept or
Yeah.
not accept it. Then this is the resolution. That
Where's the-
hires the person. The resolution 20101.
Right,
That just hires the person. I just left the name blank because I didn't know.
oh, I'm sorry, I see it, okay. All right,
so are we putting it out there so that if we're not rehiring,
we'll start advertising, yeah,
we need to put it out that we're looking?
yes.
Because I know Otis here a while back had it in the paper, they was looking for a clerk, a city clerk. so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll be following these two items here, we'll talk, about putting it in the paper. Okay, so the ordinance. I should probably read it, this is ordinance 2024-01. An ordinance repealing ordinance 2022-09 and setting the salary qualifications and responsibilities of the city treasurer of McCracken, Kansas pursuant to KSA 15-1601. Be it ordained by the governing body of the city of McCracken, Kansas. Section 1, repeal of ordinance 2022-09. Ordinance 2022-09 enacted by a majority vote is hereby repealed in full. Section 2 is the authority the Board of Commissioners shall appoint for a term of 1 year. I'm sorry, this is to hire, right?
No, this is the
Oh,
point
this
for
is
1
the-
year as city treasurer.
Yeah. The Board of Commissioners shall appoint for a term of 1 year by a majority vote of all the members thereof, a city treasurer, KSA 15-1601, the salary and term of service of a city treasurer must be set by ordinance before they can be appointed. Qualifications, city treasurer must be 18 years of age, a resident of the state of Kansas, and a bona fide resident of the city of McCracken, Kansas, for at least 1 year prior to appointment. The salary of the city treasurer shall be paid monthly the certain sum of $150.00. The city treasurer shall serve for a term of 1 year, commencing upon their appointment by resolution of the Board of Commissioners at the first regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners each January. In case of disability, death, resignation, or removal of the city treasurer, their successor, duly qualified and appointed by the Board of Commissioners, will serve the remainder of their predecessor's unexpired term. The responsibilities, again, of the city treasurer shall be responsible for to keep a full and accurate record of all monies received and paid out in a ledger book provided by the governing body, deposit all public monies, and sign all checks of the city, oversee all bank reconciliations performed by the city clerk, assist the city clerk in preparing an annual financial statement, assist the city clerk in preparing a yearly budget, and any and all duties assigned by the mayor or board of commissioners. The city shall abide by all other application statutes and regulations as provided for under the laws of the state of Kansas. So I would make a motion that we pass this ordinance the way it's written.
Second.
Okay, I'd like to get a vote to pass this ordinance. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. So 3 ayes. The motion's carried and we'll pass the ordinance. So at this time, we can start advertising for a city treasurer.
Okay.
So we'll run it in the La Crosse newspaper.
Then we can just table that resolution until then? Until we find somebody?
Yeah. So I make a motion that we table the resolution 2024-01, appointment of a city treasurer. At a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. So that's tabled until the next regular meeting, which is in 2 weeks. And so hopefully we'll find somebody in the next 2 weeks. But we'll run the ad in the La Crosse newspaper and wherever else you think it
And
might be
Facebook.
appropriate. Facebook would be good, yep. Next order of business is code enforcer.
That's the city marshal, actually, it's what it's
Yeah,
called.
I'm sorry, city marshal.
Again, this is, money-wise, this has to come out of the illegal part. We have $10,000 set in the budget for this year. So we kind of have one of two things to look at here. At this amount, it's going to eat up most of we cannot go over that budget. So by the time we do a marshal court that will be involved in this, attorney fees coming into it, paper, the ordinances and things through this next year put in the paper. We don't have enough money for this, and not even close. That means our attorney would have to be real happy with about $1,000 for the year. So, and I do know the last gentleman that we had was agreed on $200 a year because he had another job and he was willing to do that just for the fun of doing it, I guess. I'm not saying we have to do that, but I'm just saying that we can't afford it, $700 a month. That I can put on paper and we can't do it. And we do have to go according to this year. The only other option we would have in that would be to put this aside completely, put it in for the budget of next year, up the budget for the legal side of it, knowing then probably what everything costs, and go that route. We're kind of in a catch-22 here. And it's not that I don't want anybody to think I don't want them. I don't. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying we have to do that according to legalities of the state. So that might be something we want to really rehash and think over.
Yeah, so, let's see. Is that all correct, what she said?
We do have a $10,000 budget this year. That's what it was set at. And if we $700 a month, it would leave us about $1,200, I think, to pay
Yeah, it's
an attorney.
8,400.
I mean, the only other option I could see is if we amended the budget, which we'd have to go through and redo it all and move money around, but we'd have to take that money from somewhere else.
Like the general fund?
Yeah,
And that's a process in itself.
yeah, this has to be done before December of 2024. Like, it has to be all finalized and done, but it should be done it should be done now, if that's what you're wanting to do, is amend the budget. It's a process. We'd have to have another hearing and all that, and just like we would when we set the budget in the first place.
And that was done.
In July,
Well, last year
last year.
of August,
Okay, yeah.
1st of August.
Here? Right here?
Well, it was done in
It was done in
lacrosse.
La Crosse, right?
All of
Yeah,
them
we
go
set the
in.
budget, in
Yeah.
La Crosse, but then we had a hearing and everything here.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember the hearing.
yeah.
And nobody went to La Crosse.
I did.
You did.
Yeah,
That
she was
it.
there.
Okay. I think we should amend the budget.
Okay.
We should amend the budget to allow for the
But I still think this is a little steep.
Yeah, it's a little steep for now, but, I should say, it would have been a little steep 2 years ago. Right now, I think it's fair. And he's got a big job ahead of him for a while at least. And like I said before, all of our employees will have a review at least annually, where we can review all these things, but we need more money in the budget for this particular job. And so, it's my opinion that we should amend the budget. Our budget was made without code enforcement in mind, and that's reflected in our budget. And so, being that nobody else except Nicole went to the budget hearings in La Crosse,
It's because we didn't know.
I think we ought to revisit that and amend it to suit our needs, which have changed. So I would move that we go ahead and, I would make a motion that we go ahead and pass this ordinance the way it's written. And I will read the ordinance. This is ordinance 2024-02. An ordinance creating and setting the salary qualifications, term, and responsibilities for the position of city marshal, be it ordained by the governing body of the city of McCracken, Kansas. Authority is, the Board of Commissioners shall appoint for a term of 1 year by a majority vote of all members thereof a city marshal by KSA 15-1601. The salary and term of service of said office must be set by ordinance before such office can be filled. Qualifications: the city marshal must be 18 years of age and a resident of the state of Kansas. Salary: the city marshal shall be paid $700 per month to be paid out on the second Monday of the month. The term: the city marshal shall serve for a term of 1 year, commencing upon their appointment by resolution of the Board of Commissioners at the first regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners each January. In case of disability, death, resignation, or removal of the city marshal, their successor duly qualified and appointed pursuant to this ordinance and the laws of the state of Kansas will serve the remainder of their predecessor's unexpired term. The responsibilities: city marshal shall be responsible for serving as bailiff for all meetings of the Board of Commissioners and enforcing the rules of decorum set by ordinance for such meetings, serving as the city's fire inspector and/or building inspector, provided that the person appointed to serve as city marshal has met all qualifications and received all certifications as required by the laws and regulations of the state of Kansas to perform such services, providing enforcement of the city's ordinances as permitted by the laws of the state of Kansas, providing law enforcement services for the city, provided that the person appointed to serve as city marshal has met the qualifications of law enforcement officer as set forth by the laws and regulations of the state of Kansas, and all other duties as assigned by the mayor or Board of Commissioners. So these things, like law enforcement, if he's not certified for that, he doesn't do that, so. And I would make a motion that we pass this ordinance the way it's written. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of passing the ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are you gonna abstain?
Yeah, I'm not for it, no.
Then speak.
Nay.
Okay. Okay, votes 2-1, the motion carries.
We do need to realize, though, this does entail, when we're figuring out this cost factor, eventually a judge is going to be hired, court will be in session, and attorneys will be at those court hearings. So, and then kind of an idea of what our publications may be from the past. I know that's a ballpark. So when we do this, we have as close a figure that we can come up with. See how that goes.
Yeah, and we'll, I think we can get pretty close, Norma, so I don't, and we'll be,
The only thing we've ever
We'll be
had
looking for your
in
input
legal
on
fees,
that.
even when we've had a code enforcer in the past, has been 20,000. With our tax money and what we've got.
and when was that? How long ago was
That
that?
would have been 4 years ago. So,
Yeah, I don't remember going to court 4 years ago with anything.
well, 4 years ago, we never got the court set up. The court part never got set up. The code enforcers were, and I know when we had the very first code enforcer, which went back, probably 8 years ago to 10, somewhere in there, we did have court on that, at that point in time.
Mhm.
And it probably wasn't near that high even then, but there again, just food for thought on it.
Okay, this is a yearly appointment, so we can revisit this again in a year, if not sooner, so. I'm not gonna worry about it. The thing I'm worried about is the work that it's gonna take to reorganize the budget, but I don't think we should be afraid of that. I'm speaking for you, Nicole. No, I'll do whatever it takes. And I think the city should be ready to do whatever it takes to follow through on code enforcement, and so. You guys all set then? Are we all set? Norm, I'm gonna want your input on this.
Set on, what's the
On
question?
reorganizing the budget and following through
Oh,
on
it's
this.
on
and
it.
making
Well, we're
this
gonna
work.
have to, that's not really even a question, because if we're gonna do all of this, I just want, you know, to
Yeah,
be
well-
aware, this isn't just about
I
one
understand.
position. I mean, we do have to kind of ballpark that
I've
all in.
I've talked to a couple of judges so far, and we're in the process of solidifying something there and getting this all dialed in from one end to the other so that we can move forward. Everybody knows Chris?
Everybody?
So, Chris, if you're ready, we'll read through the resolution that hires you.
All right.
All right, this is resolution 2024-02, 2024-02. Whereas the city of McCracken, Kansas is a home rule city organized pursuant to Article 12, Section 5 of the Kansas Constitution, and whereas the city was incorporated under the Board of Commissioners form of government under Article 12 through 17 of KSA Chapter 15, and whereas pursuant to KSA 15-1601, the Board of Commissioners must fill certain statutory city offices, including city marshal, and whereas pursuant to 15-1604, the Board of Commissioners may appoint a qualified person to fill a vacancy in any city office to serve the remainder of the current term. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners, pursuant to its authority under the laws of the state of Kansas, hereby appoint Chris Gomez to fill the vacant office of City Marshal, that his compensation be fixed by the Board of Commissioners in accordance with the ordinances of the city of McCracken, Kansas, that the Board of Commissioners authorizes and directs Chris Gomez to conduct and fulfill all duties and responsibilities of the City Marshal as set forth by ordinance. And this will be enacted by the Board of Commissioners on this, what day is it?
29.
On this 29th day of January, 2024. I would motion that we pass the resolution the way it's written. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm only gonna oppose just because of the financial side of it, not because I think it's not a job we don't need.
Okay, so nay, and I'll vote aye. So the vote is 2 aye, 1 nay. The motion carries to pass the resolution. And Chris will be our new city marshal. Thank you, Chris.
Chris, where do you live?
I live in La Crosse.
Okay, we won't hold it against you.
It's okay.
Arlene.
Chris is the fire chief in La Crosse.
Okay.
You kind of get two thoughts at once.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the city attorney.
Before we can actually put this into play, we have to actually repeal the city councilor.
We don't have to. They're two different positions.
But we have to appeal that position to put in a new position.
This was already this is a position by a statute.
It is. But we chartered out of the residential part of that. So that's why we formed the city councilor. So by rights, we really need to appeal this, which we can do that tonight.
Like
But
repeal? Yeah,
we
like-
need to actually appeal the city councilor to put in the city attorney. Because it's
Okay.
really kind of replacing the position. It is by statute, but we did charter out just the residential part of it. So we actually really need to repeal the counselor before we can do this.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
I think the counselor was just like an additional position that we put in there just because we needed somebody that was with the residential requirement. That,
Yeah, we formed a new one, but
we didn't take away the city attorney position when we did that.
because we was still under the state, we was no longer then under state statute by his position, by being the city councilor. I mean,
Right.
it's not a hard thing, we just really should appeal the counselor to put this into play. Because we wouldn't ever require the counselor over this.
Right, so I think that position just does it. I don't think that we'd have to repeal it. 'Cause- I mean, we can, it's no big deal.
I mean, it's just a formality, but I mean, I'm just thinking if we're staying in the legal bounds, that might be the right way to go about that. I got thinking about that today.
We can repeal that, we're still within legal bounds because the city attorney is a state statute.
Yeah,
The only
as
thing we
as far
can-
as the
the only
city
thing we
attorney,
can-
right.
Charter out of is the,
Residential
residency.
part.
And we already did that.
Yeah, and we did do that.
so, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have to repeal that at this time. We can repeal it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I
Don't you
I mean,
think?
I don't, in my opinion, I wouldn't see why it would have to be repealed, but I might be wrong because I'm not an attorney.
Well, we could call the attorney.
I mean, I thought we set that position up because we needed an attorney and he wasn't a resident of the city. But we had already chartered out of the residency requirement years ago. I just don't think anybody knew about it. I just found it recently, actually. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not an attorney, so I should
Yeah,
check.
well, I'm not either, so I'm not saying I am, but I'm just thinking if we're putting someone in that position, that just made sense.
I'll see if I can get a hold of Chris. If I can, I'll put him on speaker.
Well, while you're doing that, then on his hourly rate, we really
We're
can.
in it right now.
Go ahead.
That's okay. We're getting ready to do the ordinance and the resolution to hire you. And a question arose about the previous city councilor and whether or not we should repeal anything in that case before we pass the new ordinance and resolution to hire you. Okay. 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 Alrighty. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Alright, thanks. Bye. Chris says we can make a motion at this time to terminate and repeal that ordinance.
You mean the resolution?
No, he said
City
ordinance.
council.
Thought I heard different. It's all right.
Um,
I thought it said repeal, like to terminate the.
Oh, yeah, we can do it with
just
resolution.
Like the, yeah.
But we can do it right now, have it written up, hand it over to him, he'll get it written up and reviewed, and then we'll sign it.
Okay.
So all I have to do is really make the motion, and we'll vote on it. So, I motion that we terminate Christopher Gunn as the city councilor, so that we can go ahead and hire Chris McGowan as the city attorney. So do I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, so we terminated Christopher Gunn as the city councilor. And we'll have our new city attorney write it up and get it back to us for signatures. All right, so next is,
So do we need to set the ordinance to hire him still?
yeah,
Yeah, we'll still
Yeah.
have to.
This is ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance creating and setting the salary qualifications, term, and responsibilities of the position of the city attorney of McCracken, Kansas. You know what, I don't have his rate here.
I know what his old
I
rate
don't know what
was.
his rate is, that's why I didn't put it in there. I left it blank because I didn't know what to put.
So can you just ask him that, too?
Correct.
Sorry, this is,
His old one was 125. I don't know if that's where you're standing or not.
Chris has been traveling a lot, I didn't get a chance to talk to him very much. What was it before? 150?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I wasn't just here before.
His old rate was 125 an hour.
I would imagine it's the same, but he's not answering.
For us, we can get like 5 and 6 out of a pound.
Left before 9 and got back at 7.
We left here and this time in China. And we got the other side of the process all the way.
Call him back. Tell him to get this done. Hey, sorry, we didn't get a chance to talk about this much. What rate of pay should I put on this for you? What rate of pay? $125. Okay. All right, that's all I needed. All right.
If you're up making up my favorite.
You bet. Okay, 125. All right, we'll start this again. This is an ordinance creating and setting the salary qualifications, terms, and responsibilities for the position of city attorney in McCracken, Kansas, pursuant to KSA 15-1601, be it ordained by the governing body of the city of McCracken, Kansas. The Board of Commissioners may appoint for a term of 1 year by majority vote of all the members thereof and any officer they deem necessary for the best interest of the city, according to KSA 15-1601. The salary and term of service of any such officer must be set by ordinance before they can be appointed. The office created hereby shall be known as city attorney. The qualifications: the city attorney must be 18 years of age, a resident of the state of Kansas, admitted to practice law in the state of Kansas, and an attorney in good standing with the Kansas Supreme Court. The city attorney shall be paid an hourly rate of $125.00. The city attorney shall serve for a term of 1 year, commencing upon the appointment by resolution of the Board of Commissioners at their first regular meeting each January, provided, however, that the person appointed as city attorney after enaction of this ordinance shall serve for the term commencing upon their appointment by resolution of the Board of Commissioners and terminating at the first regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners the January following. In cases of disability, death, resignation, or removal of the city attorney, their successor duly qualified and appointed by the Board of Commissioners will serve the remainder of their predecessor's unexpired term. The city attorney shall be responsible for advising the mayor and Board of Commissioners regarding all legal affairs of the city as requested by the same. Okay, that's ordinance 2024-03. I make a motion that we pass the ordinance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of passing this ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye. So, votes 2-1 in favor, so the motion, or the ordinance will pass. The motion carries and the ordinance will pass. Now this resolution 2024-03, appointment of the city attorney. Whereas the city of McCracken, Kansas is a home rule city organized pursuant to Article 12, Section 5 of the Kansas Constitution, and whereas the city has incorporated under the Board of Commissioners form of government, and whereas pursuant to KSA 15-1601 and Charter Ordinance 2023-01, the Board of Commissioners may appoint a qualified person to fill a vacancy in any city office to serve the remainder of the current term. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners, pursuant to its authority under the laws of the state of Kansas and ordinances of the city of McCracken, hereby appoints Christopher McGowan, an attorney admitted to practice in the state of Kansas and being otherwise duly qualified to fill the vacant office of city attorney. That his compensation be fixed by the Board of Commissioners in accordance with the ordinances of the city of McCracken, Kansas, and that the Board of Commissioners authorizes and directs Christopher McGowan to conduct and fulfill all duties and responsibilities of the city attorney as set forth by ordinance. This is enacted by the Board of Commissioners on this 29th day of January 2024. All in favor, I'll make a motion to pass this resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of passing this resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Aye. So the vote is 2 for, 1 against, so the motion carries and the resolution is passed. Okay, next item on the agenda is city clerk's office expansion. And for that, I have a list of materials. There's one for you.
I put theirs in there. I put
Oh, they have those, okay. All right, this is y'all probably know where Nicole's office is over there. It's about a 7 by
Careful now.
8-foot space, maybe. It's a 7 by 8-foot space. And it's, she's quickly running out of room. We need record storage and workspace. And so I'm suggesting that we expand her office 10 feet to the south and 8 feet to the west. So from her door, come out 10 feet, it'll be almost to the edge of this door, or will be to the edge of this door. And then west 8 feet, back another 10 feet. And also, I'd like to put a vinyl slider window in there with a counter on the outside and her desk on the other side, so that people can come up and do business there. She doesn't have to get up out of her chair and move away from her computer, or try to squeeze somebody in her office, or it'll be more like any other city clerk's office, only smaller. So still
Try
not,
to do spoiler?
still not as big as I think it should be, but we only have so much city space to work with, so.
Have you thought about or entertained the idea of just moving it down to the machine shed where there's 2 offices already there that just needs to be redone? To me, that
Well,
would make a lot more sense.
I don't think we could put those in good working order for a city clerk for $1,000.
Oh, I think you could probably do it for about $200 or $300, a lot less than what this is. Because really, it's just a matter of putting new flooring in and painting and ripping out those, I know there's a,
We'd have to fix the heating and the plumbing.
well, the
That
heating,
room
I
needs a
think,
ceiling in it.
I think the heating just needs to be looked at. The bathroom, needs to be checked out and see what all could be. But I think that would be, we entertained that before. That's why I'm bringing it up. I mean, that was an entertainment that we did bring out. And then all the storage could even be in that back office. Yeah, make that a storage room for all the records and things as that.
I don't know if it's secure enough for our records.
It'd be just as secure as here.
I don't think so. Also, my thoughts were to make that office for city superintendent. Right now, it's full of Christmas decorations and about 100 gallons of dry paint,
Yeah.
which is probably a fire hazard,
It should be thrown in.
and it should be thrown out.
Actually, his office, there's a nice office over in the watershed building.
Yeah, but he needs that for water, doesn't he?
But he does both. I mean, why would we need another spot? I mean, why do we need 2 offices there? I'm just throwing it out. I mean, I'm not,
Well, they're,
because to me, he is down at the building quite frequently. So it's not really like no one's ever really there. If you could actually put cameras if he was really worried about the security. I mean, that's always a possibility. They're pretty cheap anymore.
I don't think that's appropriate to move our city clerk and our city records to either one of those buildings. They're not secure buildings, they're more or less pole barns. Neither one of them have adequate heat, it's not comfortable for, conducive to the business of the city clerk.
The only thing I'm thinking about, there's many times, and I know this for a fact, and most of you out there probably do too, but when we've had functions here, we've even had to use the tables out in front as well. I mean, it is so, like rodeo time, and some certain funerals that we've had have been extremely large. And any part that we take out of here is gonna take away from the times that, and it is a
So-
community
so
building, it's not
what's-
a city office building. I mean, that wasn't what it was designed for.
Could you do that?
Where is the city office building?
That's the.
We never had a
Equipment.
city
It
office
was
It was
building
at the
until
fire-
Nicole.
It was at the fire station, the city office was.
Oh, yes, there
Well,
was.
I'm not gonna,
corrected.
I'm not gonna be receptive to taking space away from our city clerk in order to facilitate events. I think the priority is on the city clerk and our city records and the functioning of this city. I think if the event overflows outdoors, then it's overflowing outdoors. But we're not gonna overflow our city clerk to a pole barn. That doesn't make much sense to me.
I guess I would ask, Nicole, how do you feel? I mean, seriously, how do you feel where you're at and what,
I mean,
or would that be conducive to you? I mean, you're the one that does this stuff.
I like where I'm at, because our city meetings are held here, and so I
I
like right here.
understand that.
And our internet is here. I don't know if we would be able
Well,
to
we'd
have two
have to,
internets.
we'd have to probably either switch it down to there. I mean, that's what we talked about in the past too.
Well, you have windows here too. Is there any windows down there?
Yeah, there's two. And there could be another one put in that back room if we needed.
I would guess that it costs about $5,000 to renovate that space. We can do this for $1,000 and get by with this for a while. It'll be adequate for the time being. It'll give us more room for records. It'd be a comfortable place for the city clerk to do business. It's a place where other people can come in if she keeps regular hours.
Oh, yeah, I would say that I would keep, because I work at the library on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and I would definitely do the city on Tuesdays and Fridays from 2 to 7. I decided 2 to 7 would be good. And then on Saturdays, I would come in from noon to 3. I think that's what I had. So then I'd have Sundays off still. I wouldn't work anywhere on Sundays.
And we'd put
You don't need to.
But yeah, I would do that like in black and white, in writing, so when I would, it would be set.
We talked about bringing the, instead of having the slot for the water bill down at the other building, we could bring it up here, which would make it more secure. It's a central place for people to do business. And we can build that for $1,000 in materials. And what I'm proposing is that volunteers step up to do the labor. I'll supervise it. I'm a good framer. I do sheetrock. I do all of it. So we could have it built in a week for $1,000, which is within our capital improvement fund.
I have a quick question. If you're gonna take, it's right outside this, does that mean this whole building has to be heated in the winter or just her section?
Just her part.
Well, it's heated anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you have to keep the pipes. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't let them.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
can't
It's
go
a
below
low-
freezing,
Low
so.
temperature.
Yes, you have a question?
And realize the road right there, how terrible it is.
Yeah,
On Railroad Avenue? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's one thing.
It's terrible. There's potholes.
yeah, that's another
I mean, it's muddy.
inconvenience. So, I drew a picture of the proposed addition. If my computer didn't die on me, it probably did. All right, no picture.
Show us like this.
Yeah, it's like this. But, so there would be a door on the south side, a window on the west side with a counter out there. And then the door that's on her office now would remain. That would be used more or less for document storage and supplies for her and whatever, it could be locked. And then she'll have her desk and computer there in front of the window, so you can walk up to the window, pay your bills, do whatever other business you may have with the city clerk, and
Doable.
May I make a comment?
yes, sir.
If you don't take care of her and her job, we're gonna be in deep doo-doo.
Yeah,
Well, look at the city clerk's office in other towns.
I know.
They have adequate space to do their job and carry out their duties. And,
Some city clerks are 9 to 4, every day, Monday through Friday.
And you'll
I
have
know
to
Otis
gravel,
is that way.
you'll have to put gravel down for a pathway to her window on the outside, or is that paved?
It'll be when you're on the inside.
this'll all be
Oh,
inside.
Ding, 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 ding,
Well, you
dear.
said a window, and I thought, because she wanted some sunshine. She said,
that doesn't run into the guy's bathroom, does it? It doesn't run into the guy's bathroom, does it?
No, but it comes right up to the door.
Okay,
Right up to the trim.
they're not using our bathroom.
So that's, if you wanna know, if you wanna go out there and look and stand there and look at it, it's a wall that comes from the men's bathroom wall out 10 feet and then
Okay.
straight over to this door, to the
Okay.
wall at this door. So it's still not very big,
Yeah,
but I tried to visit with Nicole about some things last week, and I couldn't even get a chair in her office with her. I couldn't sit in her office with her. She barely could function in there. It's just cramped with all the documents that we have to maintain, all the reference books and all that stuff. So, do you guys have any other discussion on it?
What were the dimensions again, 10 by?
8 by 10. And this, the walls of this addition would be bolted to the floor with 1, 2, 3, 5 bolts. So if it's, and that's, and then it's nailed to the walls where it comes up to the existing walls, or screwed. So if we ever had to move it, we could cut the drywall or remove the drywall, take the screws out, take the bolts out of the floor, and move it. So it's not like it's, you know, a solid, I mean, a permanent structure if it doesn't, if we don't want it to be.
Anita, you brought up that you didn't want to lose any space for, I don't think 80 square feet's gonna.
I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal.
yeah.
It would make a big difference to our clerk, so that's what, and it would take a minimal space away from everything else that we do here. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, could we volunteer stuff, like boards or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, nails?
I think we're gonna do it all with
Screws,
construction
I mean,
screws.
I meant screws.
And I have a full bucket of construction screws that
I
are,
have boards
that are,
that
that are made for that.
Tony had. So you're more than welcome to have those.
Okay, well, we'll certainly
Look
look at them. I think really, everything will be new material. You have to use new sheetrock.
Okay.
You gotta use new insulation.
But if someone wants to do that,
If somebody had new 2x4s or unused
okay, or sheetrock that they
lumber
want to
that hasn't been
donate,
used, yeah,
to go over there and just get a hold of you? Okay,
yeah. It'll need to be painted once it's done.
because we want to make life easy for you, because you make it easy for us.
That's
try.
the
You know.
point. And I do want to invest members of the community in this.
Oh,
I want to start getting members of the community invested in their own community. So I'm looking for volunteers that, okay, I'll call on you, that can swing a hammer. Like I said, we're gonna screw this together, but you know what I mean.
Only thing I don't do, I don't paint.
Can you run a stapler?
I can run about anything that
You're
got
in.
wheels on it or got the power to it, but I don't paint.
Okay, so, and I believe we could have this built in 5 days, built and finished.
I'll help, but you got to tell me what to do.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, good.
I'd like to make a motion that we do it, or ask if there's any other discussion, or if I should leave it open to discussion. I'd like to get started on it right away and do it.
Well, Joe,
This is something we could do in a week, and it's done.
Yeah, don't,
And it improves our community tremendously, I think.
That's what we're here for, isn't it?
Yep.
I just want to say, I was under the impression, and it was gossip, I don't even remember who told me, thought we were gonna take the space out of the dining hall for this, you know, the big room next to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And this is a better plan, from what I was aware of,
Yeah.
because I was really upset about losing that space in that big room. And so this, and I would hate to see anybody have to be in an office down in that other building, Norma, and it's nothing personal.
No, that's fine.
It's just,
That's just
it's
throwing it out.
old, and I can't imagine, there's no insulation, to my knowledge, in there for heating and cooling, you know.
Plus all the dust down there from when they start hauling crap in.
Well,
oh, yeah, the elevator, yeah.
Okay.
And the road's terrible.
Well, that's
There's
important.
dust.
That's money, isn't it?
Hey, it's crappy
That's
money.
money.
but anyway,
That's just money and air.
Okay, just say, let's just do it, let's go. Do it.
So we're gonna have to do this in an ordinance?
Phyllis,
No,
does that
just a
ease your
motion.
mind too? Well, considerably.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead and spend $1,000 to build this office. And, that'll be, the only actual expense of the city. Other than that, it'll be billed with volunteer labor and supervision. So I would make a motion that we go ahead and do that. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's vote on it then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's unanimous. And,
To get a grand opening.
you know, this is something we can do out of our pocket. I don't want to do things out of our pocket because we ain't got nothing in our pockets. The next item on the agenda is about getting things in our pockets. And that is grants, grant writing. And I wanted to ask you if you knew anything about pricing from the companies that worked with rural water.
I don't have figures off the top of my head. But I can get that
You can
information.
get that?
So that we could discuss it a little more at the next regular meeting. I would just, I'm pretty close to the secretary of the rural water district, and,
She has input?
there's multiple ways to do this. One way is you hire a firm to write these things up, to help with these grants, and you know, their compensation comes when you get that money. So you're not out a bunch of money hoping that they might get you a grant.
That's what I was.
They have a vested interest in getting that grant, because they don't get paid unless
Unless
you
you get
receive
the grant.
money
Cool.
from the state. So
So,
that's one way to approach it, and I would just say that they are,
very knowledgeable.
yeah, they do this for a living. You know, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feed cattle. I don't write grants. You know, and there's a
I've done a
right.
few, but I didn't.
There's a right and a wrong way to do it. And those people understand that, and they know who to talk to and how to talk that language.
How many people were involved from rural water?
Joe, talk to me.
How many people were involved
So we have-
at rural water when it came to acquiring these grants? Was it just one person that was the liaison between everybody and the company that was writing grants, or were there?
It's me and it's the operator.
And so it's an engineering firm, and they work with a company out of Dodge City, Great Plains Development. And so between the two of them, they know how to fill out the applications, what we need to apply for, where the money's at, and we don't have to pay them until we get the grant.
And that's the engineers and the group that's writing the grants?
That's
Yes,
cool.
they work together. They work together.
Okay, so you're only writing one check when it comes right down to it?
So it's kind of like an ambulance chaser. You know?
They
You
work
win,
real
you get
hard
money.
to get the grants, what
Yes,
they do.
yeah, sure.
Because they want to be
I
paid.
take them.
Well, they wanna make money.
Okay.
And they knew, and like
that's
on
how-
our
yeah,
application,
that's how
they
they
knew
write
exactly like where we needed to go, what we needed to put on our application to obtain
They're
that
asking
financing.
you, they're asking you, they were calling you.
Yes, well,
Saying, hey, do you have
It's
all
kind
the
of a work
permits you need?
together,
it
isn't
is a
it?
work together, like they filled out all the information that they knew, and then they would come to us and we present to the board. And they came, we had a meeting here, a public meeting, and they'll come and they'll present it and they'll talk to everybody before they start.
Okay.
Pretty nice.
Yes, they're very nice. And the people from Dodge City came and then
Get
they.
us a little closer to them and start talking turkey as far as money goes and just see if they'll come down and meet with us and tell us products. Sure.
And I'll be happy to give y'all the numbers and the names of the people that you
Okay.
guys
They,
use.
they would come here and talk to everybody about it, right?
Yes, that's what they did for a little while.
Let's get her done.
And do they do just utility kind of grants, or do they do any kind of grants? Or
I don't know, I can ask.
Who'd you use?
So we used, it's Drew and Doug, Wilson Engineering, and then it's Faye and her assistant Mallory, I think, out of Dodge City.
Okay.
Is that Great Plains or Golden Plains? I may be getting that wrong, but I'll look at my emails. I can forward you.
Okay.
And if you will share
I think
with
that
everyone.
they used Ranson before with that Rosemary Saunders. I don't know if you remember her, seeing her name everywhere on that last.
Oh, when Zeke was in? Yeah.
That's who they use, and I get emails from them like once a week. And so there's that company too, that I know that they're
Definitely.
familiar with us. Like,
And that
My,
may-
my understanding was Faye has actually worked for the city of McCracken in the past.
It's Faye Trent.
okay, yes,
Trent?
yes, okay.
So she does have a little.
Knowledge, yeah.
and that's
That might be a good-
utilities also.
Yeah, that's who got well, they do everything. The Ranson, they do grants for anything.
Right.
Okay, let's get a little closer to them and see if we can have them come out and meet with us also. We need grants for water infrastructure. We need grants to fix our roads. We need grants for more city office space. New city. We can get the same grant that we used to build this pool. It's still available, and we can get a brand-new pool through that grant.
Let's get her done.
So we need to apply for that grant. It's available right now. They'll send us the forms. We fill them out, send them back. And the way I understand it, this is a pretty simple grant. We can probably do that one ourselves.
Some of them
There's-
I've gotten to be in a simple form, because I've done a few for.
They're making them as easy as they can because they have a lot of money right now that they are charged with distributing to communities like
I
ours.
have to read a lot of stuff.
So
Is that state money or federal money, or what money is that?
it's both, it's both. That's state, yeah. The other grants are infrastructure grants or federal money. And Department of Transportation's been charged with Department of Transportation in every state is charged with distributing the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the money from that. And from what I understand, they're making it so easy that the money is gone like
Quickly.
that. And there's deadlines. The deadlines are June and July. So we want to be ready for that. I think those we could probably do ourselves if we have some volunteers and put together a little committee. The Department of Transportation is making this really easy. They have free help, if you want a consultant or attorneys to help you fill out the grant paperwork. then some of the grants are, you have to match the funds for them. And there's grants now to give you the money to match the funds for the grant. And and I think that kind of thing kind of takes a committee, a dedicated committee that has their head in the game all the time. I would like to form a committee myself, and I'd like to get some input on that from the rest of the commission and no matter what, even if we have consultants or companies that we're gonna pay to get grants for us, I still think we need 3 or 4 people with a desk over here and maybe a cubicle wall and a computer that can really concentrate on this, so. Any thoughts from the commission?
Well, I think you're going down the right road because the way you get money is you ask. And the more times we ask, the more ways we ask, the more things we apply for, the odds are in our favor to get some of them.
I say we apply for everything.
Agreed.
Everything that applies to us, we need to apply for. And
agreed.
I think if we had a couple cubicle walls back here, we have a desk, and a computer, a couple of computers, and we have a whiteboard. So we have pretty much all the tools that we need. We just need some people to come forward and say, yeah, I'll work on grants with you.
You know, you mentioned the pool. What about us older people? Why can't we do aerobics? I mean, I bet you all of us would go down there.
You can.
You know, I mean, because we're always here and we don't have any kids. Take care of us.
That's what it's about.
You know, really.
That's what it's about.
In there, we can do that.
I mean, you gotta take care of the people that are here.
Right.
And,
you know,
it's about.
And we're all getting older.
Make sure you get it covered and heated.
No, we don't need it heated. Them
Hey,
things
if we
grow.
could do that, that'd be cool.
If
No.
the grant's available.
Just put a bodysuit on or
When
something.
we had aerobics for all of us,
Uh-huh.
anybody wanted to go down twice, 3 times a week. Mary Ann Moran was so excited, her doctor said no. With her arthritis, she said it has to be a heated pool.
Well, get a bodysuit on or something.
Well,
It'd
if
take.
we get a grant, can we get a heated pool?
Yeah, but you have things growing in there.
But I mean,
Put pee in it.
And this is going out in the
This is
weeds.
going, okay.
This is going too deep.
Yeah, this is going.
No.
It's all about getting the chemicals right.
All right, so, I will make a motion that we form a McCracken City Grants Acquisition Committee. And do I have a second for that?
Second. Yeah. Norma second.
All right, then, let's take a vote. All in favor of creating that City of McCracken Grants Acquisition Committee, please say aye.
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 Not you guys.
Oh. Somebody else said.
She's volunteering.
But yeah, I'll take that as a yes on
Oh,
yours.
maybe she's gonna be on the committee.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. All right, so,
Now you're gonna get somebody to volunteer.
we'll be asking around for volunteers, actively seeking participation there.
Basically, people are kind of interested.
I got it.
I mean, really, they need to
She
be
wrote it
interested
down.
in that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not something you just go, because it's a lot of reading and a lot of stuff like that.
It is. It's not, no, I want to tell you that grants aren't as hard and complicated as people think. If you actually go online, go to the Department of Transportation and follow those links, when you can, at some point, it says get forms. So you click the button and you can download the forms, or at least look at them online. And take a look at them. It's a matter of filling in the blanks, making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and then you submit the forms, or you submit it to somebody who looks it over and tells you what else you need.
So have you already applied for the one for the pool?
I'm sorry?
Have you already applied for the one for the
No.
pool? Okay.
And that's through, was it Game Fish and Perks, or?
Wildlife and
Wild
parks.
Parks.
Yeah. And
Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Parks
Parks and
Rec.
Recs.
And I have the guy's name, and I'll pass that on to you if you wanna get involved in this committee.
Yeah, so does Linda.
I think you two would be great at it. You both have some administrative skills, and
Sean's
volunteered.
Sean's
Yeah, Sean, 3 of us.
okay, that's 3.
4 of us.
Okay, that's 4. All right, let's make it official at the next meeting in 2 weeks, and we'll make you a space to work. I think, do we have a tablet or, we have a laptop, but maybe we'll get another PC, and, because this is gonna be an ongoing thing. We might apply for grants this year and not get them. We might get some and not others, so every time we don't get one that we want, we're gonna reapply for it, because the money comes around every year.
I think I paid like $200 for my computer in the office. It's
The
refurbished,
laptop.
but
This one was.
no, my like desktop.
Oh, so that'd be worth doing, I think. It's gotta be, I mean, I bought this computer and it's just not enough.
Yeah.
It's never been enough, so,
Yeah, mine was a desktop and I paid $200. I think it was $299 for it.
yeah, and those are expandable if we need to make them
It was got
bigger and
1
better
gig
than
of memory on it.
When is
so
the
it's
next
pretty
meeting?
good.
2 weeks.
What date is that?
15th of February.
Can't be 14.
So do we, as a committee, do we want to get together before the meeting?
Yeah, you can.
You can.
There's
You
no
can-
law you can't.
Well, I won't be back till the
The
10th,
5th
so.
is Monday plus 7. It'd be the 12th. It's the 12th.
What's the 12th?
The 12th,
The
yeah.
next meeting.
Monday. Oh, them.
So at the next meeting, we can discuss all that and set up a schedule, a space to work, and
Game plan.
we can write down all the goals for the committee. We can divide it up into separate work sections, however you want to do it, but we can do all that next time. In the meantime, look at grants. There's also another thing called grants.gov. It's like billions of grants on there. So if you just start searching through those, you'll find stuff that's like, wow, we can get that. That's good for us. That'd be great. There'll be a list of municipalities, how your municipality qualifies, or what groups qualify. Like if it's a non-profit or if it's a for-profit, but it's only this big, and it's a community with this kind of population, or so you'll find the grant, look at the qualifications and who can get those grants, and then dig deeper if you want to.
Okay.
So I think that's the last thing. Right?
Yeah.
You got anything else? Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. Like a second.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Thank you very much, Chris.
You bet.
We need to get your email address, and then we'll be sending you some stuff.
You just want me to text it to you?
Oh, I was.
That way you have it, or do you want me to write it down?
I don't care.
Chris _Gomez.
Yeah.
_2012.
Hello, Moto.
804.
That's my personal, I go straight to my phone. So.
I believe we got a lot accomplished.
All right, I'll email you that stuff then.
Perfect.
And then